Oprah Winfrey is one of the most influential people on the planet, but at the beginning of her life, she lived in extreme poverty, faced prejudice, abuse, and all other manner of hardships. Born Oprah Gail Winfrey on January 29, 1954, yes, you heard that right. Her given name is Oprah, as in the biblical figure from the Book of Ruth. Since her name was odd and hard to pronounce, she was most often called Oprah by everyone, and eventually the simpler name stuck. She was born in Kosciuszko, Mississippi, to an unmarried teenage housemaid mother and a father who worked in the armed forces. When Oprah was still a baby, she and her mother moved in with her grandmother, where they lived in abject poverty. Times were so hard that little Oprah had to wear potato sacks as school dresses, giving an uncomfortably truthful ring to the saying, "from rags to riches." Her grandmother taught her to read before the age of 3 and took her to local church, where she was nicknamed the Preacher for her ability to recite Bible verses. At age 6, Winfrey moved to an inner-city neighborhood of Milwaukee, Wisconsin with her mother, who was less supportive and encouraging than her grandmother had been, largely as a result of the long hours she worked as a maid. Around this time, her mother gave birth to another daughter, Winfrey's younger half-sister, Patricia. By 1962, Lee was having difficulty raising both daughters, so Winfrey was temporarily sent to live in Vernon in Nashville, Tennessee. While Oprah was there, Lee gave birth to a third daughter, who was put up for adoption in the hopes of easing the financial straits that had led Lee to being on welfare, and was later also named Patricia. Winfrey did not know that she had a second half-sister until 2010. At age 13, after suffering what she described as years of abuse, Winfrey ran away from home. She attended Lincoln High School in Milwaukee, but after early success in the Upward Bound program, was transferred to the affluent suburban Nicollet High School. She said she was continually reminded of her poverty as she rode the bus to school with fellow African Americans, some of whom were servants of her classmates' families. She began to rebel and steal money from her mother in an effort to keep up with her free-spending peers. As a result, her mother once again sent her to live in Nashville with her father, although this time she did not take her back. Winfrey's father was strict but encouraging and made her education a priority. Oprah became an honors student, was voted most popular girl, and joined her high school speech team at East Nashville High School, placing second in the nation in dramatic interpretation. Winfrey's first job as a teenager was working at a local grocery store. At the age of 17, she won the Miss Black Tennessee beauty pageant. She also attracted the attention of local black radio station WVOL, which hired her to do the news part-time. She worked there during her senior year of high school and in her first 2 years of college. She'd also won an oratory contest, which secured her a full scholarship to the Tennessee State University, where she studied communication. However, she did not deliver her final paper, nor receive her degree until 1987, by which time she was a successful television personality. Winfrey's career in media would not have surprised her grandmother, who once said that ever since Winfrey could talk, she was on stage. As a child, she played games interviewing her corn knob doll, as well as the crows on the fence of her family's property. Working in local media, Winfrey was both the youngest and the first black female news anchor at Nashville's WLAC-TV. In 1976, she moved to Baltimore's WJZ-TV to co-anchor the 6 o'clock news. In 1984, Winfrey relocated to Chicago to host WLC-TV's low-rated half-hour morning talk show, AM Chicago. The first episode aired on January 2, 1985. Within months after Winfrey took over, the show went from last place in the ratings to overtaking The Phil Donahue Show as the highest-rated talk show in Chicago. The movie critic Roger Ebert persuaded her to sign a syndication deal with King World, a production company and syndicator of television programming. Ebert predicted that she would generate 40 times as much revenue as his television show at the movies. It was then renamed The Oprah Winfrey Show and expanded to a full hour. The first episode was broadcast nationwide on September 8, 1986. Winfrey's syndicated show brought in double Donahue's national audience, displacing Donahue as the #1 daytime talk show in America. Their much-publicized contest was the subject of enormous scrutiny. In the early years of The Oprah Winfrey Show, the program was classified as a tabloid talk show. In the mid-1990s, Winfrey began to host shows on broader topics such as heart disease, geopolitics, spirituality, and meditation. She interviewed celebrities on social issues they were directly involved in, such as cancer, charity work, or substance abuse, and hosted televised giveaways. In addition to a talk show, Winfrey also produced and co-starred in the drama miniseries The Women of Brewster Place and its short-lived spin-off Brewster Place. As well as hosting and appearing on television shows, Winfrey co-founded the women's cable television network Oxygen, which was the initial network for her Oprah After the Show program from 2002 to 2006, before moving to Oprah.com when Winfrey sold her stake in the network. She is also the president of Harpo Productions, Oprah spelled backwards, a film and television production company behind The Oprah Winfrey Show, Dr. Phil, Rachel Ray, The Dr. Oz Show, and many others. Her time on The Oprah Winfrey Show came to a close when its finale aired on May 25, 2011. In June 2018, Apple announced a multi-year content partnership with Winfrey, in which it was agreed that Winfrey would create new original programs exclusively for Apple's streaming service, Apple TV+. The first show under the deal, Oprah's Book Club, premiered on November 1st, 2019. It is based on the segment of the same name from The Oprah Winfrey Show. The second production under the deal debuted on March 21st, 2020. In it, Oprah explores how people can navigate their lives through the pandemic. A third show, The Oprah Conversation, debuted on July 30th, 2020, in which Winfrey and her guests explore impactful and relevant topics. During her career, Oprah has had several extremely high-profile interviews with celebrities and other world-famous individuals. In 1993, she hosted a rare primetime interview with Michael Jackson, which became the fourth most-watched event in American television history, as well as the most-watched interview ever, with an audience of 36.5 million people. And in 2021, she interviewed Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, with her husband Prince Harry, which was broadcast globally and received international media attention. Besides her success in TV, Oprah has dipped her toes in the medium of writing. She has co-authored 5 books, and at the announcement of a weight loss book in 2005, co-authored with her personal trainer Bob Greene, it was said that her undisclosed advance fee had broken the record for the world's highest book advance fee previously held by the autobiography of former US President Bill Clinton. Additionally, she published the magazine O, The Oprah Magazine, and from 2004 to 2008, also published a magazine called O at Home. In 2002, Fortune called O the Oprah Magazine the most successful startup ever in the industry. Although its circulation had declined by more than 10% to 2.4 million from 2005 to 2008, the January 2009 issue was the best-selling issue since 2006. The audience for her magazine is considerably more upscale than for her TV show. The average reader earns well above the median for US women. In July 2020, it was announced that O Magazine would end its regular print publications after the December 2020 issue, and in said issue, Winfrey thanked readers and acknowledged it was the magazine's final monthly print edition. Oprah's relationships have been as rough and rocky as the rest of her life. In the 1970s, Winfrey had a romantic relationship with fellow host John Tesh. Biographer Kitty Kelly claims that Tesh split with Winfrey over pressures of an interracial relationship. In 1971, several months after breaking up with Oti, Winfrey met William Bubba Taylor at Tennessee State University. According to CBS journalist George Mayer, Taylor was Winfrey's first intense to-die-for love affair. Winfrey helped get Taylor a job at WVOL, and according to Mayer, did everything to keep him, including literally begging him on her knees to stay with her. Taylor, however, was unwilling to leave Nashville with Winfrey when she moved to Baltimore to work with WJZ-TV in June 1976. When WJZ-TV management criticized Winfrey for crying on air while reporting tragedies and were unhappy with her physical appearance, especially when her hair fell out as a result of a bad perm, Winfrey turned to reporter Lloyd Kramer for comfort. According to Mayer, when Kramer moved to NBC in New York, Winfrey had a love affair with a married man who had no intention of leaving his wife. The relationship drove her to a deep depression, and on September 8, 1981, she wrote a suicide note to her best friend, Gayle King, instructing her to water her plants. Following the incident in the mid-1980s, Winfrey briefly dated movie critic Roger Ebert. In 1985, before the Chicago talk had gone national, Haitian filmmaker Reginald Chevalier claims he appeared as a guest on a lookalike segment and began a relationship with Winfrey involving romantic evenings at home, candlelit baths, and dinners with Michael Jordan and Danny Glover. Chevalier says Winfrey ended the relationship when she met Stedman Graham. At the time, Oprah and her boyfriend Stedman had been together since 1986. They were engaged to be married in November 1992, but the ceremony never took place. Born in rural poverty and raised by a mother dependent on government welfare payments in a poor urban neighborhood, Winfrey became a millionaire at the age of 32 when her talk show received national syndication. She negotiated ownership rights to the television program and started her own production company. At the age of 41, Winfrey had a net worth of $340 million and replaced Bill Cosby as the only African American on the Forbes 400 list. By the year 2000, with a net worth of $800 million, Winfrey is believed to have been the richest African American of the 20th century. She was the highest paid television entertainer in the United States in 2006, earning an estimated $260 million during the year, 5 times the sum earned by second-place music executive Simon Cowell. By 2008, her yearly income had increased to $275 million. Forbes' list of the world's billionaires has listed Winfrey as the world's only black billionaire from 2004 to 2006 and as the first black woman billionaire in the world that was achieved in 2003. As of 2014, Winfrey had a net worth in excess of $2.9 billion and had overtaken former eBay CEO Meg Whitman as the richest self-made woman in America. As of 2021, Oprah's estimated net worth is $3.5 billion.